Yeah, I'm still just a bit on edge. Can you inject some apathy? Yeah, that's it. Just 1 more milliliter in the back of the neck. Yeah, much better, thanks. Hi, hello, yes, thanks for coming, thanks to the speakers so far. So if your mental projectors are working, can you just turn them on now, please? Right, thanks. So I'm here today to talk about Earth history. This is holiday photos, ancient historical footage. There we are. So we've all heard of a bridge tongue before, have we? No? Well, that's a linguistic term. It was basically a language spoken by our ancestors that you could use to talk to anyone about pretty much anything. And yes, I know that sounds ridiculous, but these were savage times. Originally, every language was a bridge tongue. This is one of the most widely spoken bridge tongues for a while on the mother planet, English. Now, obviously today, one speaks the language of the bubble they're born into. Here at the Galactic Council of Pointless Academia, we speak academish, politicians speak politistics, me warriors speak spicy, but back then, language, the bridge tongues, they were multi-purpose. You could speak to anyone at all. A ludicrous idea, of course. This is one dead phrase we found in the bridge tongue archives. Now, it means something close to that doesn't make sense or that doesn't follow. See, people who didn't agree on contentious issues actually used to socialize together back then. Sometimes the two of you could bring up these viewpoints without calling each other total pieces of shit. Barbaric times, I know. We refer to this as the pre-bubble era. Now, the history buffs among you will know that social media changed a lot of this. And sorry, is that a question at the back? No, it's all right. I do speak software. Our digital friend asks what people did before dedicated communication bubbles. Well, it's strange because when the global net was born, people thought it would make conversations easier to have and we'd actually reach conclusions on things, how to live together, which movies were better, etc. That mankind would naturally develop a global-wide sense of concern for itself regardless of opinions about current events, and thank God we put a stop to that. Hey. Now, thanks to what was called AI, it became possible to exist in entirely separate digital bubbles from each other, eventually, without ever having to encounter points of view one might not entirely agree with. This is, of course, the best way for a civilization to flourish, all differing opinions never having to encounter each other because, as we know, humans can't think for themselves and haven't been doing so for thousands and thousands of years now. Most of you presumably have an account with the galactic social platform Facebook, free to use now for 4 centuries, the only requirement being that you submit your bank details, blood type and entire DNA profile to Facebook Incorporated, but we know from the social media graveyards of old that there was a concept in the bridge tongues called privacy. Now, I promise I'm not shitting you here, but back then they sometimes preferred not sharing everything all the time. There are even reports that sometimes people watched fireworks and felt no need to film it. Fucking idiots. Stranger, there was no social rating, so if you met someone, it was impossible to know what public opinion of them was, and you had to actually judge the contents of their character. It's hard to imagine a bigger waste of time than that. Now, some more common expressions in the bridge tongues that we've found. My personal favourite is this. I believe it's pronounced I don't know. Back then, it was actually possible to admit one didn't know something about the world. Luckily, we've removed any possibility of this from our specialised languages today. Sorry, that was another ancient word. We're not even sure what that one means. It sounds like it might be an artificial sweetener. And finally, this arcane figure of speech. I don't agree with your opinion, but it's fine that you have it. One struggles to even imagine an attitude more backwards than that. Truly, our ancestors must have been living in a dystopian nightmare, surrounded by people with different views and somehow still managing to get along with each other on a daily basis, or even communicating with people we disagreed with using the now dead bridge tongues. But luckily, as the scope of the global net was widened, it became possible to contain more and more differing viewpoints, and one could live an entire lifetime without ever having to encounter someone one disagreed with, bringing us into what we now call the first bubble era. Thankfully, we have now eliminated all languages capable of connecting people with differing points of view, fractured communication to the point that humans now essentially live in their own walled-off realities, and ensure that no one need ever change their minds regarding anything ever again. Now, if you'll please stand for the human galactic anthem. Yeah, just inject a bit of galactic loyalty. That's much better, thanks.
In the event of conflicting opinions, as might occur
in daily life,
then just revert to cheap quips and insults,
because it's better to be right than to be nice.
And if one chances on other modes of thinking, slants or points of view,
just keep shouting Dunning-Kruger and accuse your mates of low IQ. We're not here to get along or advance the state of humankind, but just to call each other cunts. That's why the internet was designed.
I am right, and fuck you clearly dressed as blue.
On the fence, on the schments, choose sides. Correct your friends at the speed of light. Actually, it's 10 items or fewer. I know that from my 17 master's degrees.
And what's the point of being nice when you can be right? And you should alienate your family.
By repeatedly bringing up controversial topics over dinner. They love it when you do that.
And you should alienate your mates as well.
By going out for a drink on a Tuesday evening and everyone's tired after work, but you won't shut up about some obscure aspect of the French Revolution that no one even fucking asked about anyway, Alan. Stop it. Please.
Furthermore, if you encounter things you don't agree with, call them all dumb.
See, Marie Antoinette did have a cat, so fuck you. The only friends I have left.
We're only here to sneer and judge before we die, so let's not get along with anyone ever on the internet.
Bye. Hey, what's that? You have a new book out? Tell me more immediately, Xerbia. Well, since you asked. It is called The Fifth Science. It is 12 short stories about humans spreading out into the galaxy, building an empire. It goes on for 100,000 years of human history, right up until the point that we go extinct. It is about technological gods and misery and falling in love and how to make non-conscious things conscious and why teleporters are a shit idea and what happens after we solve science and why we will always be a bit sad. If you were ever curious about my books and you haven't tried my bullshit yet, this might be the one, because I put a lot of love into these stories. Yeah, I know, where the fuck is Logic Beach Part 2? Almost no one is asking. It just wasn't working, and it made me want to kill myself, and I'll get around to it, but I didn't want to just put out any old rubbish for the sake of it. Anyway, I have put one of the stories from The Fifth Science, the new book, up on my other channel, as read by me in an attempt to get you interested. Link below if you want. Obviously, thank you to everyone on Patreon. Like everything I do, it wouldn't exist without you. You are fantastical, and thanks and thanks and thanks. I should have already sent the thing out to you for free. Anyway, it should also be coming out shortly as a paperback, so that's cool. I'll let you know. Thanks for tolerating this shameless plug. I really just hope you like the book, because I had lots of fun writing this one. Благодаря ви, and thank you again, you bloody animals.